Hey everyone, we're here with another video, and today we're talking about the Wahoo Element Bolt V2. That is the full name, not the Bolt V2, not the V2, not the Bolt, Element Bolt V2. So I want to start by just talking about the pros and cons, and we'll get to the nitty-gritty details and all of that lovely stuff. But if you haven't seen that, I've been going over a lot of bike computers. Started off with the Garmin Edge 130 and then worked my way through the Wahoo Element Bolt V2, IGS 630 from IGP Sport, and then went through the Brighton 750 SE and the Coros Dura as well. So if you haven't seen those videos, check the link maybe in the top corner or in the descriptions as well. But we'll get started with the Bolt V2 and talking about the 2.2-inch screen that it has and comparing this with others, but also just talking about the particular features that it has. So to start off with the screen, very, very easily visible, and it is lovely matte screen. So it's so easy to see in all the different angles. Really like the screen, and I think more bike computer should have a matte screen so that you can see it in all angles. It also has some LED lights, which can be used for notifications. It can also be used for, if you're in the red or in the green or in the blue, like if you're going too hard, heart rate wise, you can connect it to power, different things like that. So it's really cool that I don't think any other bike computers have this feature as well. So it's pretty nice to have. And I didn't particularly use it because I was trying to save as much battery life as possible, but we'll get to that and battery life later. Summit climbing, so it's able to notify you when you're about to hit a climb and then to tell you how hard the climb is, how much longer you have completed the climb. So it's pretty cool, a nice feature to have. The only issue with it is that it wasn't on all climbs. Now I'm in Illinois, so there's not a ton of climbs here, so it wasn't super great on the routes that I was using, and I tried to use it in specific routes where they would be particular to me and they would be hills to me, if you will. So yeah, it wasn't super accurate there, and missed some pretty steep inclines, so I'm not entirely sure how they're using the data. The price is pretty good. I bought it for $200. You can find these used on the market, open box items, different things like that, around the $200 mark. It retails for $280 on their website, but don't pay that because you can find it deals whether you look on eBay or Amazon or what have you, or even secondhand on Facebook Marketplace or something like that. So make sure you don't buy it for $280. Make sure you find some around the $215 or under mark. Otherwise, it's really not worth it. Something else that was really cool, quick sync. So it does connect to Wi-Fi and it is able to quickly sync. I found that it didn't even need to be connected to Wi-Fi, but whenever it was done, it would upload to my phone very, very quickly. And it was it was the first notification that I got after saving the ride. So that was really cool and good to see. Faster than I've ever seen on any devices that I've had. It does also have connection to third-party apps, so Strava, Training Peaks, and what have you. So that's really nice. It does not connect to Insta360, sadly, to be able to get those quick tracks right after recording those. So that would be something that I would like to see. Easily customizable fields, so it's pretty easy to use a map and then also have fields added to the map. Pretty easy to do. You can't really do it through the device itself. You have to connect it via your app on your phone and then push over those different settings that you would want in the fields. So that's kind of annoying, but in a pinch, one would love to be able to do both. Typically, people probably bring phones with them on the rides, so I've had to quickly switch that. In general, easily customizable fields, so if you want a map on there, you want battery life, you want heart rate, or what have you, there's a plethora of different fields that it allows you to customize and put on a map or what have you. Maps and navigation, very easy to read, very easily zoomable and zooming out. Not really easy to pan. It doesn't have a touchscreen for that case. I don't particularly like touchscreens, but for panning and zooming, obviously that's the easiest way to do that on a device, especially a small 2.2-inch screen. But it does have that, and it's easy to read, very clear, which turns you need to make. And then that leads into the navigation with the street maps. So I've had it so that I've uploaded a GPX map from a lot of different, usually I use Map My Run, and then I just upload that. This is all within the Apple ecosystem. So usually what I do is I download the GPX from Map My Run, and then I share that to my phone, and then I open that GPX with the Elements app, and then share it with the actual Wahoo Bolt V2. And that all happens really, really easily. I've had some issues with it loading the map sometimes. So when I was in the middle of a route and then I tried to choose a route, for some reason it wouldn't actually upload it. This happened a couple times and then it wouldn't give me turn-by-turn navigation. So it was a little bit buggy, but when it works really well. In terms of the navigation, it also has the street names when you do turn-by-turn. So that's really nice, similar to Garmin. And yeah, that was something that I really, really liked with this. And kind of set a precedence on me sort of saying like, this is a hard requirement on new devices, that you should have turn-by-turn navigation with the street names. So other things, ergonomics and button layout. By far the best button layout and ergonomics of any devices that I've used. So good job on you, Wahoo, for having the proper button layouts and just really easy to use and go around navigation. Also, it has a beep. So it's a very loud beep. I actually had to put like duct tape underneath it and some sound insulation to lower the decibels because it was just really, really loud. And Wahoo, if you're listening and watching, give us a setting like low, medium, high. That would be nice. We'll head into the cons and start talking about why you might not want this device. So first off, slowest boot time ever. I have no idea why this boot time is so slow, but Wahoo, like, you need to fix this. I'm inclined to believe that the boot time is mainly because by the time you boot it up, it's ready to go, as in it's found navigation, etc., etc. But the boot time is so slow, you know, and it's not really a deal breaker per se. You can, like, when I start getting my bike ready, I just turn on the bike computer, and by the time I'm outside, we're good to go. So just depends. I don't particularly like it, especially if you need to turn it on and start it. Like, you know, you're in the middle of a race, you forgot to boot up your computer and start it. It just takes quite some time to load. So it gives an advertised of 15 hours of battery life. I got 10 to 12. Obviously, this just depends on what settings you have, but there are actually no GPS settings, so it's very like basic in how you set things up. This one, you don't actually get to choose any of that. There's just one setting, and I didn't connect it to things like a power meter. I only had it connected to a heart rate monitor. So, you know, that's kind of the minimal. And I also turned off the LED lights too. So, you know, I was probably using it in the least amount that you would use it. I'm sure navigation also takes a hit from that too. So you might get under that, but yeah, generally I got 10 to 12 hours, so not great battery life. And then the GPX tracks. So this was actually one of the main issues that I had. So not specifically with GPX tracks. The GPX tracks are like fine. They're okay, but for a bike computer, you expect them to be pretty decent. My Coros Pace 2 actually did better in the GPX tracks wise. The other issue that I had was that it was very, let's say, slow to respond to accelerations. Now, this isn't really a huge issue if you're just looking at the average pace or what your pace is at the ends. Generally, that was pretty accurate. The issue was that, you know, if I'd pick up the pace, for example, it would be laggy. So, you know, it's something similar to sticky watts, but, you know, regardless if I was in open road or if I was in like a foresty area, the response on the screen would be pretty slow to what I would actually do. And all the other devices that I had would respond quicker than this. So I'm not sure if it was an update rate or something to that degree, but yeah, whenever I started doing a sprint or what have you, it'd be like, you're at 17 miles an hour, and then suddenly you're at 25 miles an hour, like a few seconds later. So I didn't particularly like the lagginess there. And then the GPX tracks as well, GPS tracks were just not that great. Not what I would expect in a bike computer. I also had some issues with it randomly dropping out or rebooting. So this one ride, I had the GPX tracks loaded, and then I was riding back, and that would randomly just reboot, and I was like, okay, the screen is blank. Not great. I'm trying to compare this to these other devices, so I ended up wasting quite a bit of time comparing them. When it restarted, it continued the ride, but it sort of skipped the data to my next point where I was continuing. So that was really annoying because all of that data I get to throw out now. But yeah, I did have a couple issues where it just randomly rebooted. I mentioned the no Insta360 integration, so I'm hoping that Wahoo can eventually do this. You can do this through other like third-party apps and sync this up, but you have to do things manually. I don't particularly like that. If you can just sync it up, it just becomes so much easier to edit footage and then get stuff out for social media and stuff like that. So I mentioned it has Wi-Fi connectivity. It only has Wi-Fi connectivity with 2.4 gigahertz networks. So if you, for example, just have a 5 gigahertz network, it won't connect to that. And then it doesn't say like if the connection failed or anything to that degree. So it's kind of weird. And then it was weird with the like updates as well. So I would get firmware updates and I would get a notification on the device. And there's a specific way to actually go to check if there's a update. And then I would get a notification that, hey, let's update it. But it would never give me a confirmation if it was updating or not, and then if it was finished updating. Real quick, future Derrick, or editing Derrick for that matter. Another issue is mounts. They have their own Wahoo mount system, and it's actually different, as I understand, from the first bolt that they created. So that's something that's also annoying, is that it doesn't have a Garmin mount. So, and I'm not saying that everybody has to go Garmin, but there should be a standard of mounts and they all should be the same, or they should at least be able to fit in the same mounts. So that's another con as well. But at least they give you a out front mount as well as handlebar mounts and stem mounts. So at least they provide you with that. But if you have an existing Garmin mount, you cannot use that. You can find an adapter that replaces that, but yeah, it's just annoying. Those are all of the cons that I had. In general, it's a really good device. I would definitely recommend it, but again, like $215 or below at that price point. And then it hits below the Chorus Dura as well in terms of that, if you're looking for that particular product. I'd rather get a different device versus this one specifically for those particular issues. My main things: battery life, navigation, and connection with the Insta360. So yeah, with that said, thank you for watching. And again, if you haven't checked out those other bike computer reviews, make sure you check that out. Like the video, subscribe if you like this content, and we will see you in the next video. Thank you for watching.